This movie tells a story about a Korean woman with unusual powers called Mona, who mysteriously escapes from a mental facility. She tries to make it on her own in New Orleans and soon encounters table dancer Bonnie, who not only helps Mona evade police but finds a use for her mysterious abilities. First of all, this movie is mediocre. The narrative is sluggish and nothing gets past a sort of loopy superficiality. This movie is never fun enough to ascribe to camp, yet too smugly self-aware to ever take seriously. It's not quite extreme enough to thrill horror fans, not complex enough to appeal to art house audiences, and slightly too weird for the mainstream. As a character, Mona is not fleshed out enough to be compelling. Who is she? What are her powers? And how long has she had them? The movie doesn't care to answer any of these questions, instead preferring to go with the flow of her escape. While her ambiguous North Korean origins are the most interesting element of her background, she's defined solely by her physics powers, the sudden use of which, after a decade in a straitjacket, are not ever explained. Early promise of a dark and twisty protagonist falls short amid an underdeveloped narrative. The movie's lack of creative depth in the dialogue and Mona's background as a whole means there isn't enough intrigue to become fully invested into her journey. The narrative never lives up to the enigmatic objects in the title, as none of the elements merging into a cohesive story. It's a jumbled mess of cliches and empty symbols in search of deeper meaning. This movie has a violent opening to grab attention, but the script doesn't retain much interest in doing anything with it. It's soon trailing off into various encounters with other characters, but with no relationship to explore. Nothing much really happens, at least not of consequence. The storytelling is murky, as the writing is not focused enough to make this much more than a cheap thrill. This movie doesn't have sincerity, it offers eccentricity instead, which grows tiresome quickly. It even suffers more from a rushed third act, where the story becomes a race against time, and we lose insight into some overlooked characters. Overall, this movie could have made powerful statements about women, cultural stereotyping, or friendship. Instead, it's an empty viewing experience. We do not recommend this movie at all.